that? Has that been considered? Is it workable? One of the key things that we have stated for the working group is to meet the grant requirements. Will some of these work with having to do that addendum? If you recommend them and we're going through that time frame and we have the end date, it's still been confirmed, it was firmed by Build Canada. The FCM, I see some of them here, may affect the FCM funding. Does that meet the requirements that we have set forth for the working group, is to not affect the grant?
Yeah, and that'll be one of our evaluations,
okay,
is how that impacts the grant. And also how it impacts the EA as well. You'd like to think that if you were changing process, let's say as an example, we're going to say, okay, we're forgetting the Oracle, and we're going to go with an area lagoon, that Sager system and filters, then you'd have to do an EA addendum. And what you try to do with your addendum is frame it up so that basically you tell the public all we're doing, and that's all that you can comment on, is we were doing Oracle, now we're doing this, and that's all you can comment on. Whether you can't go back and talk about flows, service areas, all that stuff, that's already been fixed and off the table. So whether you, and you try and,
that's still a 6 to 8 months process.
It's still an addendum is not as onerous a process, because you actually don't even have to have a public meeting. You can just put an ad in the paper, and that will be up to you on how you want to tackle that. But where the difficulty lies is you can always get a Part 2 order, right? It's a free country and people can do whatever they want. And the minister has to review every Part 2 order, which unfortunately takes them a long time, or it seems to take them a long time to respond. So that's the danger of redoing the EA.
An addendum can be as simple as writing up a short report outlining what changes you're making and what impacts there are. And in most cases, that's a relatively short process. And then all it takes is an advertisement for 30 days. You may choose to have a public meeting or meet with the affected property owner or stakeholders. But usually, it's 2-3 months, and you've got the addendum goes through, unless, like Mike says, you get a Part 2 order. So in a lot of cases, we have these addendums done at the same time that you're proceeding with the design work. So there's nothing that says you can't start your design work on your revised preferred alternative at the same time you're doing the EA addendum. There's a slight risk for some reason it gets stopped cold by the minister or something.
Will the working group be consulting with the Ministry of the Environment on the standards, whether it's going to meet the criteria prior to bringing back a recommendation, as well as Build Canada, what they require prior to bringing back a recommendation?
Yes, yeah. We're actually, that conference call we're trying to set up for the first of next week is to talk to BCF and what they, what impact there might be on the grants, and then as well. The ministry side of things, we've got a pretty good handle on it, and we can always talk to the ministry, but we've done enough projects, we know what they'll accept and what they won't accept.
I mean, all these alternatives we're proposing are acceptable and are processes that the ministry has approved many times. So,
there is these different criteria, I understand, for this because of the proximity to the lake, is there not?
Well, that's the effluent criteria, or right. I believe that's the effluent criteria you're getting at, and that's non-negotiable. That's your design objective.
Meet that.
Yeah, we got to meet that. So every process that we put forward, or the recommendation, I guess the recommendation that we put forward will meet that.
Okay.
Just a quick follow-up. On the EA, if we did change the design, would a Part 2 bump up only be allowed to question the design, not the entire EA, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, lot less risk that the minister will grant the bump out request, because it is such a focused thing that they can comment on it. The difficulty is the minister could take 6 months to come back and say, yeah, you're good, go ahead. Right, that's the problem with the part to order when you've got a funded project is those guys take forever.
At the end of the day, the goals remain the same.
Yeah.
To produce some type of quality effluent that's going to be discharged into the body of water.
Yeah.
Does the Minister of the Environment really get too hinky about whether it's a sand filter or whether it's an orbital? They just want to know at the end of the day, what will the quality of that effluent be?
Yeah.
Our issue with design is cost, flow, peaks. Right?
Yep. Yep, no, and that's,
And long-term
Yeah, portable field.
yeah.
sustainable. We're not need to use. Okay.
Well, that's correct, and the ministry actually has gotten, as, over the last years, they've gotten to the point where they don't care as much about what's inside that box as what's coming out, yes. They've moved they've kind of moved to a true regulatory role where they really basically saying, we're gonna look at what's coming out the end of that pipe, and if you don't meet it, then we'll talk to you, but we're not so worried about what you do before it comes out of that pipe.
Actually, we're having discussions with the ministry right now to slightly modify the Class A process so that you don't specify the technologies being used, but that you specify the performance criteria so that we don't run into the same problem we've got right now. Because both, you know, your project's a classic example where you do the EA, you go a certain route, then you go get tenders, you go to the marketplace, and you find out that, well, the assumptions you made at the EA in terms of pricing and that sort of thing didn't quite match what the marketplace is providing you. So you may want to change the process to make it, you know, affordable or change, you know, for whatever reason. Now you can't because you've got to go back and do an amendment. So the solution is not to actually go down and say, you know, in your EA, yes, we're going to do an orbital type facility. We're going to basically, you know, finish the EA saying these 5 mechanical plant processes plus a Sager system sized this way will meet the effluent criteria, all the performance criteria that we want. It will deal with sludge in this way, and it will fit in this footprint. And then you have the flexibility after you've completed the EA to go, you know, any of those depending on what the marketplace commercial pricing comes in at. You can make those decisions really quick. Now your hands are tied because now you come up with something. Well, now we hit them. You know, it's cheaper to go this way, and you're sort of facing this unknown issue of opening up your EA. So we're actually having those discussions right as we speak, and we're hopefully that the next iteration of the NEA Class A document will make those distinctions.
Sensible, good luck on them.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for your report. Anything else that this working group will carry on until evaluation? Those dates, August the 3rd, I guess, is our next update here for the meeting.
That's the biggie, right? That's the final report.
Yep. Any correspondence?